of the previous episodes, I told that I will do a separate episode on US-China relationship history and their timeline. So this episode is about that. In this video, I'll be explaining about how US and China started their relationship right from 1784. The first representative of the United States went to China. A ship called the Empress of China became the first vessel to sail from the United States to China. This journey marked America's entrance into the China trade in tea, porcelain and silk. And in 1785, first Chinese arrived in the United States. That is, 3 Chinese soldiers came to Baltimore. In 1844, the Treaty of Wangxia was signed. The two countries signed a treaty and the terms included extraterritoriality for US citizens in China, most favored nation status and a guarantee for treaty revision in 12 years. Extraterritoriality means the right of a foreign citizen to be tried by the laws of his home country and not by the laws of the land that they are in. This actually is the beginning of the diplomatic relations between US and China. In 1847, the coolie trade began in the New World. Chinese laborers were known as coolies. Coolie traders began to come to US, and this made the US Congress to pass a law prohibiting US citizens from engaging in the trade and guaranteeing the freedom of all Chinese laborers who came to the United States. After 1849, more and more Chinese laborers went to America to work in mines, to work in railroads and other menial jobs as such. In 20 years alone, nearly 100,000 Chinese arrived at United States. In 1858, the treaties of Tianjin were signed. The Chinese ruler signed new treaties with several foreign powers, including the United States, to protect his kingdom from British and French forces. These new treaties opened more trade opportunities and allowed the establishment of permanent diplomatic legations in Beijing. Legation means a minister. He or she is like an ambassador but not exactly an ambassador. The first Chinese mission abroad happened in the year 1868. In 1867, the king decided to send China's first diplomatic mission to the Western nations to renegotiate its treaties. When I say king, it is not a K-I-N-G king, it is a Q-I-N-G king. King was a dynasty in China. So the renegotiated treaty with US allowed for unrestricted Chinese migration to the United States and other benefits. First restrictions on Chinese immigration was placed on 1875. The US Congress passed the Page Act, which barred entry for Chinese laborers. It was the first in a series of increasingly restrictive acts on China by United States. 1878, the first Chinese legation established in the United States. This marked the beginning of full bilateral ties between the United States and China. 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act was passed. There were anti-Chinese issues in US for more than a decade by then because many Chinese were coming to US and Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act. This act suspended Chinese immigration to the United States for 10 years. This marked the beginning of some 60 years of exclusion. 1885, anti-Chinese violence broke out in the US and 1892, the Geary Act was passed. This act prohibited Chinese immigration for another 10 years until 1902. And it required all Chinese in the United States to carry residence permits or face deportation. This law took away the legal rights of Chinese in the US. 1902 and 1904, the provisions of the Geary Act was extended and expanded. The US Congress continued to pass restrictive legislations regarding Chinese immigration. 1905 to 1906, anti-American boycotts were happening in China. After the United States and China failed to come to an agreement on a new immigration treaty in 1904, Chinese in Shanghai, Beijing and other cities launched boycotts of US products and businesses. In 1911, the Qing dynasty fell and in 1912, the Republic of China was founded. On January 1, 1912, Sun Yat-sen took office as the provincial president of the newly created Republic of China. In 1921, the Chinese Communist Party was founded and in 1924, Immigration Act extended exclusion. This legislation placed stringent quotas on new immigrants based upon their country of origin. In 1928, United States formally recognized nationalist government of China. In 1933, China requested America's help in rural reconstruction. This was the Chinese government's first official rural development program, and it relied on American planning, funding and implementation. 1938, the United States extended credits to nationalists. After the outbreak of Second Sino-Japanese War in China, the US governmental support for China increased dramatically. US did not want to take part in the war but gave a $25 million credit to the nationalist regime so that it could purchase necessary supplies. In 1940, President Roosevelt expanded the credit to $100 million. After the Japanese forces attacked the Pearl Harbor, United States formally entered the war on China's side. 1943 saw the end of extraterritoriality and exclusion. The two nations signed a treaty formally ending 100 years of extraterritoriality in China, bringing an end to the legal privileges long held by foreigners. Simultaneously, the United States passed legislation allowing Chinese immigration for the first time in 60 years, although it was under a very low quota. In 1945, Japan surrendered and the nationalists and communists in China started to fight again. A full-scale civil war began in early October 1949. The People's Republic of China was formed. Chinese Communist Party leader Mao Zedong established the country China in Beijing on October 1st after the communists defeated the nationalist government. Mao also announced his intention to lean towards the side of Soviet Union. Since US and Soviet were not friends, US and China's friendship were facing troubles. Then came the 1950 Korean War. Soon after the start of the Korean War, US forces went north of Korea towards China, and the first military clash between China and US since 1900 took place. After this, anti-American sentiment rose in China and almost all remaining US citizens began to move out. The 1954 Geneva Conference. Delegates from all over the world met in Geneva to resolve the Korean War and the war between France and Vietnam. A PRC delegate, that is a People's Republic of China delegate, Zhou Enlai, attempted to shake hands with US Secretary of State John Foster Dulles, but he refused to acknowledge Zhou. Such conferences were the only direct official connections between the United States and China in the 1950s and 60s. 1956 was the beginning of Sino-Soviet split. The gap between PRC and USSR widened when Chinese leader defended Stalin against Khrushchev. Between 1960 and 1961, the Sino-Soviet split up completely. In 1965, Immigration and Naturalization Act was passed in the US. By passing this act, the United States opened the doors to more migrants from Asia. Chinese immigration from Taiwan and Hong Kong increased dramatically in the following years. On February 21, 1972, President Nixon went to Beijing. He was the first ever American head of state to come to Chinese mainland. Then, in 1975, President Gerald Ford visited China. In 1979, the leader of People's Republic of China, Deng Xiaoping, visited US. In 1980, he launched the Economic Reform and Opening. In an effort to jumpstart China's economy, Deng Xiaoping brought major process of economic reforms. One of the main aspects of this was to bring in foreign investment and businesses. Companies from the United States, Europe and Japan began to flock to China to take advantage of the new opportunities. China also joined the IMF and World Bank. In 1984, US President Ronald Reagan became the third US president to visit China. The following year, Chinese President Li Xianin became China's first formal head of state to visit the United States. The reopening of US and China relations happened in 1992. The first high-level contacts in several years occurred when President George W. Bush and Chinese Premier Li Peng met on the sidelines of a UN conference. Chinese President Jiang Zemin came to the United States in 1997, and this was the first state visit by a Chinese leader in over a decade. The next year, President Bill Clinton paid a return trip to China. In September 2008, China became the largest holder of US debt at around $600 billion. In 2010, China surpassed Japan and became the world's second largest economy. In November 2012, Xi Jinping became the Chinese president. In 2013, US President Barack Obama hosted Chinese President Xi Jinping to build a personal rapport and ease tension between US and China. In 2014, an American court pointed out 5 Chinese hackers were stealing trade technology from US companies. In response, Beijing suspended its cooperation in the US-China Cybersecurity Working Group. In 2015, US warned China over taking control of the South China Sea, and in 2017, the US President Donald Trump invited Xi Jinping for a 2-day summit in the United States. The next year, Trump administration announced sweeping tariffs on Chinese imports, and China retaliated with its own tariffs on more than 500 US products. The trade war intensified in 2019 as US raised tariffs from 10 to 25% on Chinese goods, and China retaliated by announcing plans to increase tariffs on American goods. In 2019, Trump signed a bill supporting Hong Kong protesters who were protesting against the security bill. This year, Jan 15th, Phase 1 trade deal was signed. President Trump and Chinese Premier Liu He signed the agreement, and it was a breakthrough in the nearly 2-year trade war between the world's 2 largest economies. But immediately on Jan 31st, tensions were high because of coronavirus pandemic. By March, the World Health Organization designated the outbreak as a pandemic, leading officials in both China and the United States to blame each other for the pandemic. Trump made repeated references to the coronavirus as Chinese virus. Then in March, the Chinese government announced it will expel at least 13 journalists in China from 3 US newspapers, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal and Washington Post. Then came the most recent and most significant closure of consulates on both sides. This is the 2.5-century history of the United States and China relations, and if we see, the relations between these two countries actually went bad only after the Chinese Communist Party took charge. Until then, they were in an okayish relationship, but still the US did not like the Chinese immigration even as early as 19th century, and they even passed on many acts to prevent Chinese immigration. They had Russia as their common enemy, and that helped in their relationship for a while, but then again they fell out in the economic front. Hope this episode was very informative. Stay connected with us for more such informations.